Okay, so here we are with the Econami sound decoder. This one's for UK Steam, and I'm curious to see what this sounds like. I'm not sure if these are still available. They only come out a short while ago, but I've already opened it, as you can see, and I'm really curious to see what they sound like. I'm a big fan of Soundtraxx decoders. They sound absolutely fantastic, and I have used them in British stuff before, even though it's only American sounds. They just sound so good. So even if it's not accurate, the chuff sounds and everything else are just so good. So I'm interested to see what this can do. And this is a 2 amp decoder. They do a 1 amp one as well. But you can do so much with these. I've already opened it, as you can see here. So loads of wires for different functions and extra accessories like LEDs and things. And there's so many options for flashing lights of various types. Some that you probably won't need to use. And purple wires there for the speaker. Very good decoders. And then here we've got a list of the functions. I'm excited about the drift mode. That sounds like that could be cool. Make operation a lot more interesting. And then interesting here to read the options that you get. So we've got Prairie, GWR262, and Peckett, standard class engines, and an A4, which is the thing that got me interested. Oh wow, I just noticed there's even more. LNER single chime, West Country, and some narrow gauge stuff as well. So lots of choice with the whistles. And then here you've got some different chuff rates, like 3-cylinder or articulated. I believe it does 4-cylinder, but it doesn't say. I'll have to see what that does. And then the option for light, medium and heavy. So that's going to be interesting. I think I'm going to stick this in one of my A4s. So I'll be very excited to see what the 3-cylinder sounds like. I've got a few to choose from, but I think might stick it in here as a test bed to start with. Golden Shuttle, the railway model, which I'm thinking of possibly converting to Snodgle Grizzly. I'll have to get a double chimney for that. I was thinking it might be nice to turn this one into a 4498, as it was in the 80s, which I was lucky to drive once, and the off-carn fourth shed with the assistance of a driver, but that's something I'll never forget. I'm surprised there's not been a model of it done yet, to be quite honest. So, let's see how this goes. I've got some little bits here to use, which I've been preparing, because with these decoders, it's just the harness you get, there's no 8-pin. So I've been chopping these up with a Tamiya saw and then breaking them off. And there's also these two which could be useful. Might be useful if I decide to run some more wires through to the tender, because this railroad model doesn't have any pickups in the back. But there is room to put a speaker in there, so I might stick 2 speakers in, see how that goes. But there we go. So let's see how we get on with this. I'll be back soon with the decoder wired. Okay, so now I've got this contraption here, which is my pins, the top 2 there, which are araldite together in setting. So that'll make my 8-pin plug. These are quite nice because you can tin your wires and fit them in there, and that'll make a nice plug for you. I'm using araldite, which is my favourite. It takes a little bit longer, 5-10 minutes to go off, but it's a very solid connection, much better than super glue. For things like this anyway, where you want something to be like strong. Super glue can break, and with model railways, if super glue gets near oil, it breaks down, so it's not always the best stuff to use. But this araldite should hold it. The trouble with these is they have a tendency to snap off on the pins there, so these are the ones I've filled in with some araldite, just so I can use those for something else later. So that's why I use the Tamiya saw. Just breaking them off, well, cutting them off doesn't always work, so if you saw them off, then they'll stay better than have the plastic wrap around them. Any danger with these, of course, is that when you're soldering, you have to be quick because the plastic can melt, and that's an issue. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so now I can move on to the wiring stage, hopefully. I've got this here, which is now set, glued together with the araldite. That'll be my 8-pin plug. Wires go in there, and that should sit in lovely into the socket in the loco. And we've got the remainder of these, which, as you can see, you'll clip together nicely whichever way. So what I'm thinking of doing, I've actually got a keeper live, or a current keeper, sorry, as they call it, they being Soundtraxx. And I'm thinking, well, there's so much room in the tender that it'd be good to run two of these wires from the decoder and the loco into the tender, and then we can put the keeper live in there. As soon as it's got no pickups on the back, but they got the 6 wheels, so basically it's like an 060. So to make this a bit more reliable, we'll have the current keeper in there. That should make reliability 100% hopefully, and this loco should be a great performer then. Especially this one's got the 5-pole motor in rather than the new 3-pole motor they put in. I've got these speakers here too, which are actually iPhone 5 speakers, I believe, and I bought them from a source that tells me that ATIME, but I might want to check that, although I do trust the seller. So, but I've used iPhone speakers before, just recently, and they sound absolutely fantastic. It's a great idea when you think about how good iPhones sound for their size. It makes sense. These things sound great, and they fit in really well into most projects because they're so small. I also favour the sugar cube, but sometimes they can clip and distort, I find. So these can handle a lot of frequency. So I'll be interested to see how this sounds. And as you can see, compared to the decoder, there's loads of space in the loco with these. So I can get the sound where it needs to be in the boiler casing. And I've got another one here. And this is the solder I prefer to use. A proper lead solder. And 6040. It's so much easier to work with and so much stronger. Yes, it's toxic, but if you want to do a quick job that's good and have a nice shiny solid connection, this is what you want to be using, in my opinion. I hate the new modern solder. It's just awful stuff to work with. It's got to be so hot, and in my opinion doesn't give a strong enough joint. It's hard to get a good result. And I picked these up as well from Hobbycraft, little sticky pads. They should come in handy. So we can move on to the install now. Okay, so now we've done the wiring, and I've got this nice flashing orange LED here, which I think I'm going to put into the cab, so that I've got a fire effect in there. And I've just put some epoxy resin on there to keep the wires apart. They won't go near each other anyway, but just to make sure, just to safeguard it, and make sure there's no shorting out going on there. Now I've got this little plug on here. Use these again so that I can connect it to here. So I've got the blue common positive and the white and yellow, the front and back lights. And as I'm not going to fit the lights of this loco, I'm using that to attach to here. So this will stay in the loco, that will stay in the body, and then if I need to get in there, I can easily detach it. So, and again, epoxy resin just to keep everything solid. It's going to be rock hard when that's set, so that won't go nowhere. And then here we've used 4 of the wires for the 8-pin connector. So we've got red and black for track and orange and grey for the motor. And the other ones are there free if I ever need to connect them in there, but I'm not going to need to. So I've got spare green function wire and spare brown as well. And down here we've got the decoder. And we've got the speaker attached with the extra 2 wires that Soundtraxx give you for more functions. So it'd be nice to take advantage of more, but I can't think of anything else to use at the moment. Maybe a smoke generator, but with it being a plastic body, that kind of scares me a little bit, to be honest. Can be done, but it's not essential, is it? So we've got the decoder there. So now we can move on to the install and see what this sounds like. Okay, so now we have the A4 disassembled of the golden shuttle there, and I've took the 8-pin plug out, but there's this white at the front. Now, from previous experience of having installed sound in these Hornby A4s, you have to undo those 2 screws there and take that white off to make some room. I say you have to, it makes things easier. But I'm going to try and not do on this, but I think I'm probably going to have to be honest with you. And then back here, I've got the motor, but there is enough space so that if I want to put that LED for the firebox in there, it will fit. I have to bend the wires up over the top of the motor probably, but I'll drill a hole right through in the back there. So, and then we can get some nice glowing effects in there. Might be nice to add some glazing sheet if I can into the back of those windows there, the front ones at least, and the little pointed windows at the front. Something for a later date probably, but it would look better if it had some windows in there. And I think I might even add some etch plates onto that. These look alright. I don't know why, but the red ones always look a bit naff to me, unless they're actually etched. So, might get some Fox plates on there. So, doing this in sections and edit it all together, so I hope it all comes together nice for you to watch, but let's get this decoder in. Okay, so we're back with this, and after a few cups of coffee and lots of foam pads, an installation has been done. So to give this a test now. For the time being, I've left the resistor in, or capacitor, sorry, just to see if it's okay at first, because it does affect things, but not always that noticeably, to be honest with you. Not in my experience. Depends on the loco, but not so much with these. I've got the speaker down underneath the decoder there. So, that's my finger. Just here. Resting on a foam pad, and I did try and keep the weight in, but they're just not enough for it. So, the weight's out, then you've got the pins, the socket here sitting on another foam pad there, so make sure it doesn't short out. And same with the speaker contacts there, pointing up away from the wheel so they don't short out. And there's obviously a pad between the speaker and the decoder, with a pad on top to keep the wires, which are grouped in order of relevance. So the speaker wires together, and then there's redundant function wires there, and then the function wires which are routed all the way to the top to here, where the light can attach for the firebox glow. And then we've got the wires there stuck to the side of the motor. So moving that to one side, and we've got the body here, which has been drilled out, so the LED's sitting in there. The wiring up, so just need to check this fits now. It should be fine. Just might need bending the wire into position, but that should all work lovely. So you can see in here, if it'll focus. Let's get it to focus. There you go. Little LED poking through there. So let's put it together. But first of all, let's check it works. So it's all back together now. Well, at least the loco half is. So that's the moment of truth. Let's turn on the controller and see if it works. And it does. So let's see what whistle we got for this at default. Not an A4. Sounds good though. Let's give it a little run then. Right. Nice slow running. That's me. I've only got the wires on here, but the pickups aren't particularly bright or anything. There we go. Not the right chuff for an A4 either. Okay. So let's have a look at the CVs and see if we can get this sounding more like an A4. Definitely think this is going to take advantage of that keeper life. But I'm going to wait for that to get here. Back in a second. Okay, so now we've fiddled with a few CVs and we've got this. Very nice. Very loud as well. Playable whistle. And it's got this weird thing where you've still got the prairie whistle on number 2. And then when you press that, you press 3 or 9, the other whistles, and you get a prairie sound. Don't know why. And then if I press number 1 to go back to the A4, it'll change 3 and 9 back to this, or... So I don't know if I can change CVs to make number 2 be an A4 whistle as well, because it does mention something about a secondary whistle. Maybe gives brief CVs with this leaflet, so maybe if I read through the manual online, because no Soundtraxx are very in depth and do a hell of a lot of stuff, I might be able to change some things up on it. I've changed the chuff on it now, so oops. No, good, there we go. Bear me a second, this is the wires. There we go. That does actually sound like an A4. It's cutting out because I've only got the wires just tacked on at the end of the track here. This is just a little test track. So, other than that, the pickups actually seem alright on this. Bit of a lurch backwards. And I'm not sure if that's something to do with BEMF or BEMF or CVs, but it seems to like going faster backwards sometimes at the moment. But I know this has got an advanced drive where if it hits a gradient, the chuff spool responds to that as well. I'll try and show you that. I'll just put my finger on it here. Stop it going anywhere. Use my phone here. So, there we go. So, let's get a bit of speed. It's a very smooth runner. So I'll press down on it now. You hear the chuffs changing the rate. Very, very cool that. I'll show you there's another thing on function 4 here. Got drain pops, I think it is. But they respond to the chuff. Which is very cool. It's got this other awesome feature which you can put it into a drift mode, so let's leave it there, press function 5. You'll get a rod clamp. And you can slow work down with that. And press F6. And the chuffs come back in. But also, if you go to function 11, you have brakes coming. And that was combined with F5 as well to knock the chuffs back. So you can get some really fun drivability with this. It's a fantastic chip. That happens when you turn function 11 off, whatever that is. So, that's what we've got so far. If I just bring it forward. You have to turn function 6 on to get the chuffs back, and I didn't know. So, in the cab we've got this. So you see it's just an LED there. But I think that's a pretty nice effect in there. Now further to this going on. As it is, it's an LED that automatically flickers. But because Soundtraxx offer you so many CV options. On those lights I should be able to change the effect of that again and maybe find something that's more suitable, or dim the feature even. So I'm really happy with this so far. I think it's a fantastic chip, and I need to spend some time with it now, altering the CVs to make it run even better. Start voltages and all that lot, top voltage, but also looking at the motor control, which is mind-blowingly good. I'll just turn the sound off. Probably loud on the phone, picking it up, but it's very quiet in person. Very quiet when it cuts out. There we go. So this chassis actually runs better than some of the super detail locos I've got. For some reason it's got much smoother roll on it with the wheels. When I put my finger there holding it to see the chuffs, I couldn't feel it knocking, and most Hornby A4s tend to have a bit of a knock to them, I've noticed. This one doesn't, so I have high hopes for this loco. But now I need to get a bit more of a stretcher track set up and do some work on the CVs, and then we'll have another look at this loco. So I hope you've enjoyed this so far. I'm not sure that end the video here, or I might add some more to it yet, and maybe make a second video. I think this loco will definitely be featuring. Sadly, I've not got a layout at the moment. I'm in the process of building a new one, which is going to be part of this channel. In fact, this little bench that it's on, that's where the name Little Bert's Bench comes from, which is actually in respect to my granddad, because he used to call me Little Bert. So, Little Bert's Bench, sort of honouring him. He was Bert himself. So that's that. But I might do more to this video. I might just end it here. So we'll see. But this loco will be featuring, definitely, a lot on the layout. It is a beautiful loco. Very basic, but gorgeous livery. I think Hornby did a really good job with this loco, and Soundtraxx certainly did very good with the chip. So let's see what else it can do. Okay, so I'm doing more to this video, and just noticed that this is part of this hyperdrive, I think it's called. And now I turned the loco around, and it is on a slight gradient, and the lurch backwards is now a lurch forwards sometimes. So it's simply the decoder picking up that it's on a gradient, which is fantastic. If I go backwards now, I've actually got the half speed enabled now, so we'll see how much slower it can go. And that's just speed step 1. I haven't altered any more CVs yet. 2, 3, 4. Now if I go back forwards, it's going downhill now. There's a bit of a lurch and then it gets control of itself. Pretty amazing. Now I know this thing's supposed to have random sounds too, but I haven't heard many of those yet, so I might need to set those up. And usually Soundtraxx have a hell of a lot of random sounds with a probability generator, so sometimes when it stops you'll hear the fireman, sometimes when it stops you don't, and randomly that can activate as well, along with drain pipes and drain cocks and all the other random noises that you might experience with a steam engine. It sounds absolutely fantastic. It really does sound like an A4. I just wish so much that I could have a big stretcher track to run this on right now. And once my layout's back done, I'll have to do that. In the meantime, I think I might actually join a local model railway club for the time being. I've always fancied doing that, but to see this running with a load of teaks behind it would be absolutely amazing. It's funny when you put the sound in. See, that's that lurch. When you put that sound in and the lights, it really does bring it to life. I'm thinking what else I can do now. That coal will go at some point. I'll drill that out and put a reduced load in with real coal. And I think it's going to look fantastic. Yeah, it does look fantastic. But it's going to look a lot better. Absolutely wonderful. I love that whistle. It says that it's Nigel Breslin, so it certainly sounds like it. That must be the loco they recorded it from. But yeah, I'm very happy with this. Very happy indeed. What a lovely loco. Okay, so I've been messing with the CVs a bit more with this, and I'm really impressed with this decoder now. I've managed to map the whistle, so you get basically a primary and a secondary whistle, so they're all A4 whistles now. But it's nice you can have the option. I haven't bothered with the chuff rate yet, because I'm kind of happy with it how it is. Even though it's not accurate, it's fun. But you can adjust that to get the 6 beats per revolution. But I'll probably leave that for the future. But it's an amazing chip. If you open up the throttle, like lots, before the acceleration rate catches up, you get really loud chuff. It's very dynamic. That can all be adjusted. Obviously I've only got a short length of track here, and this is what will be the start of my layout. Very small, just 4 foot by 1 foot. So let's have a listen to it now and see what it sounds like. The way you can bring that brake in by choice. You can set them to be automatic if you wish. But it's looking really good. It hasn't got a fireman sound, which is unusual. But it's still got that in there. It looks a bit bright on the phone, but I want to get back in there and try and make that look a little bit more obscure, because you see it poking out there. So I have to do some work on that at some point. But it's looking pretty cool, I think. Sorry about the shakes. Doing my best here with this phone. That's the water, which you can leave on and it automatically stops and starts as you start and stop if you want to, but I'm not going to bother with that right now. So speed set 1. Oh, there we go, it's cut out. That's the first time it's done that. Amazing. All this time I've been messing with it, and now it does it for video. So speed step 1. So if I put in half speed, not that one, that one, that's speed step 1, half speed. The chuffs get louder for this. Let's see. We've got a blower feature as well. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, the couple noise. I think that's it. That is water again. But the drivability of this thing is fantastic. I love that chuff sound. I think it sounds very much like an A4. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give you a few more whistles. So, it's been fun doing this video. And I think I'll show you another time when I've done the coal in the back. So, that's it from Golden Shuttle and Mallard over there. This isn't the 80th anniversary one, this is the 70th one, which I got broke and did up when I fitted the speed plat to it. Even though it's gold, I think it actually looks pretty cool, because you don't really notice it that much, to be honest. It just looks like it's shiny, like the real one. So, anyway, thanks for watching. See you soon in the new video. Bye.